Welcome again. Now we will deal with several modes of execution as provided under section 51 of the code. There are 12 various modes for execution of a decree. We will see them one by one. And from your exam point of view, this topic is very important because you will be asked an essay regarding various modes of execution or on a short notes on a particular mode of execution. So anyway, this topic is very important for from your examination viewpoint. So now coming on to the modes of execution. So I told you there are various modes for execution of a decree. They are enumerated in general terms under section 51 of the code. Even though different modes of execution are allowed, and it could be both even simultaneously, the execution court has a discretion either to refuse execution against the person and the property having regard to certain particular facts of the case. Now we will see what are the different modes of execution. The first mode of execution of the decree, as provided under section 51 clause A, is delivery of property. Delivery of property. It can be of two types: delivery of movable properties as provided under section 31, and also delivery of immovable property as provided under sections 35 to 36. If the decree in the suit is with regard to any specific movable property, if the decree is with regard to any specific movable property, the decree can be executed by seizure and delivery of that movable property to the decree holder. It can also be executed by the detention of the judgment debtor in civil prison. It can be executed also by way of attachment and sale of the property. And it can also be executed by attachment of the property and detention of the judgment debtor in civil prison. For this purpose, for attracting the provisions or to attract the mode of delivery of property as a means of execution of a decree, that property, movable property, that must be a specific movable property, and it will not include a decree for money. And this rule can be applied. Rule 31, Order 21, Rule 31. Order 21, Rule 31, we are providing with delivery of movable property. It can be applied only if the property is in the possession of the judgment debtor. If the property is in the possession of a person, a third party, the provisions of Order 21, Rule 31 regarding delivery of movable property cannot be resorted to by the decree holder. Now coming to delivery of immovable property. Order 21 rules 35 to 36 provides with delivery of immovable property, how an immovable property can be delivered. If the decree is with regard to an immovable property which is in the possession of the judgment debtor, or if it is in the possession of any other person who is bound by the decree, that is a successor in interest or anything like that, it can be executed by removing the judgment debtor from that property, or by removing any person bound by the decree from that particular property and delivering it to the decree holder. And in this mode of execution, the property will be put in the possession of the decree holder. If the decree holder can satisfactorily establish the identity of the property, the identity of the property must be established. That the property with regard to the decree and the property upon which the delivery has been sought for is one and the same. And when possession has been so delivered to the decree holder, the decree holder will be put in actual possession of the property. Sometimes, if the property is in the possession of a tenant, for example, the person against whom the decree has been passed has let it to some other person, a tenant. And if the tenant is not bound by the decree, the delivery of the property will be made by affixing a copy of the delivery warrant at a conspicuous part of the property in which the tenant is residing, and also by the beat of the drum, Chandakutti. And it is a symbolic, it's only in such mode of possession, that possession is only a symbolic possession, or it can be treated only as a formal possession, wherein the decree holder will not be put to actual possession of the property. So if the property is in the possession of a person other than the decree holder, or a person other than a person who is bound by the decree, actual possession of the property will not be delivered. The delivery warrant will be affixed at a conspicuous part of the property, and by beat of the drum, it will be proclaimed that the property has been put in possession of the decree holder. And if the decree is for a joint possession of the property by the decree holder and the judgment debtor, in such cases, the possession will be delivered by affixing a copy of the delivery warrant at some conspicuous place of that property, and by way of a proclamation by the beat of drum, or any other mode as prescribed by the court. And in this mode of delivery of possession also, the actual delivery will not be effected, because the decree is one for joint possession of the property. And assume for a moment, when the Amin from the court approaches for delivery of the property, and if the person in possession who is bound by the decree does not afford access to the property, then what should the officer of the court do? വസ്തു ഏറ്റെടുത്ത് ഡിഗ്രി ഹോൾഡർക്ക് കൊടുക്കാൻ ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ അങ്ങോട്ട് പ്രവേശിക്കാൻ അനുവദിക്കുന്നില്ല. അവരെ പുറത്താക്കിയിട്ട് വേണമല്ലോ ഡിഗ്രി ഹോൾഡറെ ആക്ച്വൽ പൊസിഷനിലേക്ക് ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കാൻ. If the property is in the possession of the decree judgment debtor or a person bound by the decree. In such cases, the officer of the court may, after giving the facility to if there is a Pardanasi lady there, after giving a facility for the Pardanasi lady to get out of the property, or to withdraw from the property, the officer of the court can break open the building and put the decree holder in possession of the property. This can be resorted to only in case where the property is in the possession of the judgment debtor, or in case it is in the possession of a person who is bound by the decree. Otherwise, only a symbolic possession is permissible if it is in the possession of a tenant who is not bound by the decree. And any person bound by the decree, that will include the judgment debtor as well as any other person. For example, if the decree is against the tenant also will be bound. The tenant will be evicted from the property and the decree holder will be put in actual possession of the property. And in case of a resistance to the delivery of the possession, Section 74 and Rules 97 to 103 of the Code provides with the provision with regard to how he will be put to delivery of the property. And Rule 97. Rule 97 enables that the decree holder or an auction purchaser, for example, a person who has purchased the property from the by way of an auction done by the court, he can make an application to the court if the person who is in possession of the property is making an obstruction, and the court will make an inquiry on that as provided under Rule 101 of the court. After making an inquiry with regard to the interest or the conflict which arises between the parties, and after making the inquiry, the court will pass an order under Rule 98, asking if it is found that the person who is making resistance to the delivery of the property is not entitled for that, the court will make an order asking him to get out of the property. And even applications can be made by third parties, a party who is not a party to this suit. If that party claims that the property belongs to him, he can also make a claim. That claim can be made under Order 21, Rule 99. And any person other than the judgment debtor who is dispossessed by the decree holder or an auction purchaser with regard to a property can also make an application to the execution court with regard to his grievances with regard to such dispossession. And the court, again in this case also, the court will adjudicate under Order 21, Rule 100. And the court will pass an order. And such an order which is passed under Rules 98 or 100, in a proceeding under Order 21, Rule 98 or Rule 100, that will be having the effect of a decree also. It's a deemed decree. And when the application has been filed by the decree holder, as I have told you, after considering the application filed by the decree holder or an auction purchaser, the court will either allow the application and will order to put the applicant in possession of the property. If the court finds that there is a merit in the contentions raised by the person who has made the obstruction, the court will dismiss the application made by the decree holder or the auction purchaser. And in appropriate cases, the court can make other orders also which the court thinks fit, having regard to the facts and circumstances of the case. And even if after making the order, if resistance is still made, then upon an application made before the court will pass an order for detention of the obstructor in civil prison for 30 days. അപ്പോൾ കോടതി ഇതെല്ലാം പരിഗണിച്ചു, തർക്കങ്ങൾ പരിഗണിച്ചു, ഓർഡർ 98 100 അനുസരിച്ച് ഉത്തരവ് പാസ്സാക്കി. അതിനൊരു ഡിഗ്രിയുടെ സ്വഭാവമുണ്ട്, ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ഡീംഡ് ഡിഗ്രി. അതിനുശേഷവും ഈ ഒബ്സ്ട്രക്ഷൻ തുടരുന്ന സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ കോടതി മുമ്പാകെ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ വെച്ചാൽ the person making obstruction shall be detained in a civil prison. And similarly, the applications made by the third party will also be made under Rule 99 by third party. That also will be adjudicated and an order will be passed. And that order will also have to be enforced. Now coming to the second mode of attachment. Second mode of attachment. That is, second mode of execution of decree. Second mode of execution of a decree, that is by way of attachment and sale of property. First one was with regard to delivery of the property. There was no issue of attachment there. The second mode is by attachment and sale of the property as provided under section 51 clause B. So attachment and sale of property, the court within whose jurisdiction the property is situated is competent to attach the property and to sell the property. And the object of attachment is to give a notice to the judgment debtor not to alienate the property to the third parties. And it is having a general public interest in that also, that after attachment it will be reflected in the revenue records as well as the records kept with the registry. So that a person who is intending to purchase the property can also have a notice of the attachment ordered by the court. Section 60 of the code, Section 60 of the code provides with the properties which are liable for attachment. Properties which are liable for attachment. And Section 60 provides that all saleable property belonging to the judgment debtor over which or over the portion of which the judgment debtor is having a disposing power, over which the judgment debtor is having a disposing power, shall be attached, may be attached and sold in execution of a decree. So, judgment debtorക്ക് അവകാശപ്പെട്ട ഏത് വസ്തു, ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർക്ക് വിൽക്കാവുന്ന ഏതൊരു വസ്തു, സെയിലബിൾ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ബിലോങ്ങിങ് ടു ദ ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർ. ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർക്ക് വിൽക്കാവുന്ന വസ്തു, ചിലപ്പോൾ വസ്തുവിൽ പൂർണ്ണമായ അവകാശമായിരിക്കാം ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവുക, ചിലപ്പോൾ ഭാഗികമായ അവകാശമേ ഉണ്ടാവും. അപ്പോൾ ആ വസ്തുവിന്മേൽ ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർക്ക് എന്തെല്ലാം അവകാശങ്ങളുണ്ടോ, ഓൾ ദാറ്റ് റൈറ്റ്സ് ഓർ സെയിലബിൾ റൈറ്റ്സ് ഓഫ് ദ ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റ് ഡെറ്റർ ഓവർ ദാറ്റ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി that can be attached. For example, the property may be in the joint ownership of some persons including the judgment debtor. In such case, the interest of the judgment debtor alone can be attached. ബാക്കിയുള്ളവരുടെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കും. Now, Section 60 further provides with regard to the properties which are exempt from attachment. Even though Section 60 provides that all saleable property belonging to the judgment debtor with as regards his interest can be attached and sold in execution, it further provides that certain properties are exempt from attachment. ചില കാര്യങ്ങളെ, ചില പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിനെ അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. We will see which are the properties which are exempt from attachment in the execution of a decree. The necessary wearing apparels of the judgment debtor, his wife and children, the personal ornaments, താലി അതുപോലെയുള്ള പേഴ്സണൽ ഓർണമെൻറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഒരു ആചാരത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി ധരിക്കേണ്ട, ഇപ്പോൾ സ്വർണത്തിൻ്റെ താലി ഉണ്ടാകും, ആ താലി that is exempted from attachment. Necessary wearing apparels including those of his wife and children and personal ornaments which cannot be parted with by women in accordance with religious usage. മതപരമായ ആചാരങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഗമായി ഒഴിവാക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്ത എന്തെങ്കിലും ആഭരണങ്ങളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that is exempt from attachment. സാമാന്യം ധരിക്കേണ്ട വസ്ത്രങ്ങൾ, that is also exempt from attachment. താലി 10 പവൻ്റെ മാലയിൽ താലി ചാർത്തിയാലോ? And the lady says that this is exempt from attachment because this forms part of our religious usage. That will not be, because tali alone is required, and the usage does not say that it should be tied in a chain of 10 sovereigns. അപ്പോൾ താലിക്ക് മാത്രമാണ് എക്സംഷൻ ഉള്ളത്. അത് ഇട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന മാലയ്ക്ക് എക്സംഷൻ ഇല്ല. ദ താലി അലോൺ വിൽ ബി ഹാവിങ് ആൻ എക്സംഷൻ. സെക്കൻഡ്ലി, കുക്കിംഗ് വെസൽസ്, beddings, tools of artisans, and implements of husbandry. If the judgment debtor is an agricultural, is engaged in agricultural purpose, that cattle, the seeds, grains, etc., which are required for him to enable him to earn his livelihood, that will be exempted. Necessary cooking apparels, cooking vessels, something which is in need of animal husbandry, etc., that will be exempted from attachment. Then house of agriculturists and land immediately appurtenant thereto, belonging to an agriculturist or a laborer or a domestic servant and occupied by him, that is also exempt from attachment. Wages of laborers and domestic servants, whether payable in cash or kind, that wages are also exempt from attachment. Then salaries, ശമ്പളം. There is a difference between wages and salaries. കൂലിയും ശമ്പളവും. കൂലി അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല, ബട്ട് സാലറീസ് ക്യാൻ ബി അറ്റാച്ച്ഡ്. ശമ്പളം അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാം. സാലറി ടു ദ എക്സ്റ്റെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് 1000, ആകെയുള്ള ശമ്പളത്തിൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ 1000 രൂപ അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. ആൻഡ് 2/3 ഓഫ് ദ റിമൈൻഡർ, ആദ്യത്തെ 1000 രൂപ കഴിച്ച് ബാക്കിയുള്ള തുകയുടെ 2/3 of the remainder is exempt from attachment. 2/3 of the remainder is exempt from attachment, except in a decree for maintenance. ചെലവിന് കൊടുക്കാനുള്ള ഇതിൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിലാണെങ്കിൽ ഈ സാലറിയിൽ ഈ 1000 രൂപയുടെയോ ബാക്കിയുള്ളതിൻ്റെ 2/3 പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻ കിട്ടുകയില്ല. സോ സാലറി ടു ദ എക്സ്റ്റെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദി ഫസ്റ്റ് 1000 and 2/3 of the remainder will be exempt from attachment. For example, a person is having a salary of, assume say 10,000 rupees. Salary is 10,000 rupees. So the first 1,000 is exempted. 10,000 രൂപ ശമ്പളമുള്ള ആളുടെ സാലറി അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാനാണ് ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്നതെങ്കിൽ ആദ്യത്തെ 1000 രൂപ exempted ആണ് ഓൾറെഡി. So the balance is 9,000. Balance is 9,000, and out of that 9,000, 2/3 is also exempted. That is 2/3 means 6,000 rupees. That is also exempted. So a total amount of rupees 1,000 plus 6,000, 7,000 will be exempt from attachment, and what could be attached is only rupees 3,000. കിട്ടിയോ? ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒന്നുകൂടി പറയാം. 10,000 രൂപ ശമ്പളമുള്ള ഒരാളാണെങ്കിൽ സെക്ഷൻ 60 സേസ് ദാറ്റ് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് 1000 ഈസ് ഫ്രീ ഫ്രം അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ്. ആ 1000 മാറ്റിയാൽ ബാക്കി 9,000. 10,000 നിന്ന് 1000 മാറ്റി ബാക്കി 9,000. ദെൻ 2/3 ഓഫ് ദ റിമൈനിങ് 9,000 3 കൊണ്ട് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്താൽ 3,000. 2/3 മീൻസ് 6,000. That is also exempt from attachment. അപ്പോൾ ടോട്ടൽ 1000-ഉം 6,000-ഉം ചേർത്ത് 7,000 രൂപ, that is exempt from attachment, and what can be attached is only rupees 3,000. In the case the salary of a person is 10,000. Then pensions cannot be attached. Then gratuity, that cannot be attached. Then if there are certain compulsory compulsory deposit, ശമ്പളത്തിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ കമ്പൾസറി ആയിട്ട് ഏതിലെങ്കിലും ഡെപ്പോസിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് പറയുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓൾസോ എക്സെപ്റ്റ് ഫ്രം അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ്. ആൻഡ് the right to future maintenance is exempt from attachment. The books of accounts of a company, that is immune from attachment. Then the right to sue for damage, that is exempt from attachment. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഡാമേജസിന് വേണ്ടി സൂട്ട് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് ആ തുക അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യണം. That cannot be allowed. So these are certain properties which are exempt from attachment, especially with regard to salary. I think that earlier a question has been also asked, a problem has been asked with regard to attachment of salary. So with regard to attachment of salary, very important, first 1,000 and 2/3 of the remaining. In case of a decree for maintenance, only 1/3 of the salary will be exempted. That other exemptions will not be allowed. അപ്പോൾ ഡിഗ്രി ഒരു മെയിൻ്റനൻസ് ഡിഗ്രിയുടെ കാര്യത്തിലാണെങ്കിൽ ആകെയുള്ള ശമ്പളത്തിൻ്റെ 1/3 ഒഴികെ ബാക്കി മുഴുവനും അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കും. And assume for a moment an agreement has been entered into between the judgment debtor and the decree holder to waive the benefits which are conferred under section 60. അതായത് കുറേ ഭാഗം എക്സംപ്റ്റ് ആണെന്ന് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് വേണ്ട എന്ന് വെക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി ഒരു എഗ്രിമെൻ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിലോ ദാറ്റ് വിൽ ബി വോയിഡ്. Even if an agreement is made enabling the decree holder to attach more than what has been specified under section 60, such agreement will be void. Now coming to the concept of percept. Percept, P-R-E-C-E-P-T, percept, as provided under section 46 of the Act. Short note. Percept, section 46. Percept means a command, an order, a writ or a warrant. Percept, we can say it's a command. And what is that command? It is an order, or it's a command or an order, or it can also be a direction. We can say it's a direction given by a court which passed the decree. It's a direction given by a court which passed the decree to a court which would be competent to execute the decree. Direction given by a court which passed the decree to a court which is competent to execute the decree to attach any property belonging to the judgment debtor. ഡിഗ്രി പാസ്സാക്കിയ കോടതി അത് എക്സിക്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാവുന്ന കോടതിയിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് ഡിഗ്രി ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞു. അങ്ങനെ ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് ആ ഡിഗ്രി എക്സിക്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാവുന്ന കോടതിയിലേക്ക് കൊടുക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഡയറക്ഷനാണ് പ്രിസെപ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് വാട്ട് ഡയറക്ഷൻ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ്? The court can, upon the application of the decree holder, issue a precept to the court within whose jurisdiction the properties of the judgment debtor is lying, to attach those properties which are specified in the precept. പ്രസെപ്റ്റിൽ പറയുന്ന ഡിഗ്രി ഹോൾഡറുടെ പേരിൽ മറ്റു കോടതിയുടെ എക്സിക്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാവുന്ന എക്സിക്യൂഷൻ കോർട്ടായി മാറാവുന്ന ഡിഗ്രി ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് പോകാവുന്ന കോടതിയിലേക്ക് കൊടുക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഡയറക്ഷനാണ്. എന്താ ഡയറക്ഷനിൽ പറയുന്നത്? വിധികടക്കാരന് ആ കോടതിയുടെ അധികാര പരിധിയിലുള്ള ഇന്നിന്ന വസ്തുക്കൾ ജപ്തി ചെയ്യണം, അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഓർഡറാണ് പ്രസെപ്റ്റ്. ആൻഡ് ദിസ് വിൽ എനേബിൾ ദ ഡിഗ്രി ഹോൾഡർ ടു ഒബ്റ്റെയിൻ ആൻ ഇൻട്രീം അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദി പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് ഡിഗ്രി ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് അവിടെ ചെല്ലുന്ന സമയവും അവിടെ പുതിയ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ഫയൽ ചെയ്ത് അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ് മേടിക്കുന്ന സമയവും ഒഴിവാക്കി അതിന് മുൻപായി തന്നെ അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ് കിട്ടുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള സംവിധാനമാണ് ഈ പ്രസെപ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ദർ ഇസ് എ ടൈം ലിമിറ്റ് ഓൾസോ ഫോർ ദി വാലിഡിറ്റി ഓഫ് ദി പ്രസെപ്റ്റ്. It will continue only for 2 months. Precept which has been issued will continue only for 2 months. And within the period of the precept, the decree will have to be transferred to that court which is having the jurisdiction and an attachment should be obtained. ഈ പ്രസപ്റ്റിൽ പറയുന്ന പ്രസപ്റ്റിൻ്റെ കാലാവധി 2 മാസം മാത്രമാണ്. ആ സമയത്തിനകം ഡിഗ്രി ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്ത് അങ്ങോട്ട് പോകാം. However, this period of 2 months that can be extended by the court also. There's a provision for extending the period of 2 months also. Unless it is not extended, the period of precept will end by expiry of 2 months. And within that time, the decree will have to be transferred to that court to continue with the attachment of that property. Now, another short note, garnishee order. Garnishee order. What is this garnishee order? Garnishee means a debtor of the judgment debtor. Garnishee means a debtor of a judgment debtor, means a person who is bound to make certain payments to the judgment debtor is called a garnishee. So a person who is liable to pay the judgment debtor. For example, the employer is a garnishee of his employee, because the employer is bound to pay salary to the employee. Garnishee is a debtor to the judgment debtor. And another term is garnisher. Garnisher means the decree holder who initiates the garnishee proceedings. And these garnishee proceedings are instituted in order to realize a decree, realize a decree debt, so that the property or money held by the garnishee, which is to be paid to the decree holder, judgment debtor, is to be paid into the court. Judgment debtorക്ക് കൊടുക്കേണ്ട തുക കോടതിയിൽ അടയ്ക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി ആവശ്യപ്പെടും. It is a judicial proceeding where the decree holder prays the executing court to direct a third party, the garnishee, to pay the amount to the garnisher, the decree holder, or to deposit the amount before the court. Garnishee order is an order passed by a court ordering the garnishee to pay the money to the money which is due to the judgment debtor to the decree holder, or to deposit it in the court. And once a garnishee order has been passed, the garnishee is having an option to dispute his liability. Garnishee can say that I am not liable to pay. And if such an issue arises, that will have to be determined by the court as to whether the garnishee is liable to pay the judgment debtor or not. And garnishee proceedings can be initiated only as against a debt which is free from attachment as provided under section 60, which does not fall under the exemptions which are provided under section 60. സെക്ഷൻ 60ൽ എക്സംപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളുടെ കാര്യത്തിന് വേണ്ടി ഗാർണിഷി പ്രൊസീഡിങ്സ് ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. എക്സംപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ മാത്രമേ. ഇപ്പോൾ സാലറിയുടെ കാര്യമാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ സെക്ഷൻ 60ൽ പറഞ്ഞ ആദ്യത്തെ 1000 പിന്നീടുള്ളതിൻ്റെ 2/3 ഒഴിച്ചുള്ള ഭാഗത്തിന് മാത്രമേ ഗാർണിഷി പ്രൊസീഡിങ്സ് ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കൂ. ആൻഡ് if the garnishee makes a payment into the court, that will be a valid discharge of the liability of the judgment debtor. And if the garnishee fails to pay as per the order of the court, കോടതിയിലേക്ക് പൈസ അടയ്ക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, പക്ഷേ employer he is not paying the amount as ordered by the court, then the garnishee himself can be proceeded against. ഗാർണിഷിക്കെതിരായി തന്നെ പ്രൊസീഡിങ്സ് ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം, as if the garnishee himself is the judgment debtor. And if the amount is attached wrongly, a suit can be filed for damages. So the property once attached, when will this when there will be a determination of attachment? അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്ത പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയുടെ അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ് എപ്പോഴാണ് ഒഴിവാവുക? ഡിറ്റർമിനേഷൻ ഓഫ് അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റ്. സെക്ഷൻസ് 55 to 58 of the code provides with determination of attachment. And an attachment will be determined or terminated once the decree has been satisfied. Or secondly, if the decree has been revised or set aside, that we have seen with regard to attachment before judgment also. And if an objection has been raised against the attachment, and if the objection has been upheld by the court, for example, a property has been under attachment, a third party comes to the court and says that this property was purchased by me even before attachment, and the court finds that that was a bona fide purchase, the court will terminate the attachment. So if the objections which has been raised against the attachment is upheld, the attachment will come to a termination. If the application for execution is dismissed, attachment will be terminated. Or if the person who has attached the property, that is the attachment creditor, if the attaching creditor withdraws the attachment, then also it will terminate. If the attaching creditor abandons the attachment, there also the attachment will get terminated. Then what is the effect of a private alienation after attachment? So a property is under attachment, but after the order of attachment has been passed, the judgment debtor has transferred the property to third parties without any intimation to the court or to the decree holder. That is private alienation. If a private alienation has been made, or if a private transfer has been made, that is a voluntary transfer by way of a sale, lease, etc. And this private alienation of property which is under attachment will be void as against the claims which could be enforced against the property. So in such case, if the purchaser comes to the court and files an application that this property belongs to me, the court will not entertain the application because that purchase itself is void, because the purchase is with regard to a property which is already under attachment, and the intention of the attachment itself is to see that the property is not alienated by the judgment debtor. Section 64(2) provides that the provision will not be applicable to transfer of property in pursuance of a contract which has been entered into and registered before the attachment. ഒരു സ്ഥലം വിൽക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി അറ്റാച്ച്മെൻറ്റിന് മുൻപായി തന്നെ ഒരു എഗ്രിമെൻറ്റിൽ എത്തപ്പെടുകയും ആ എഗ്രിമെൻറ്റ് രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളതാണ് എങ്കിൽ, an agreement for sale of the property which has been registered, in such case of agreement, if the agreement has been registered prior to the date of attachment, the sale based on such agreement will not be affected by the attachment. അപ്പോൾ അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷം പ്രൈവറ്റ് സെയിൽ നടത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that is void. But if an agreement for sale of the property under attachment has been made, and if such agreement has been registered prior to the passing of an order of attachment, then the provisions regarding private sale as provided under section 64 will not be applicable as provided under section 64 clause 2. So the next area is with regard to the sale of the property which has been attached. That we will continue in the next session. Thank you.